When you buy a car, you should never do this. I said it, never. It's crazy. We buy cars all the time, but most people do it the wrong way. I'm gonna show you how you should really never do it because of all the money you lose in the process. Not only am I gonna show you how you should never buy a car, I'm gonna show you the most efficient way to buy a car where you can get back every dollar for any car you'll ever buy, drive, and own. It doesn't matter if it's a Ford Pinto or a Porsche 911. You will be able to get back every single dollar for every car you ever buy, drive, and own, and you can even make money just by simply purchasing it. In this video, we're gonna cover all that, but before we do so, if you have not subscribed to my channel, make sure you do that. And also smash that like button and hit the bell so you get notified when I put out these videos. The algorithm loves it and it would really help out the channel. So let's dive right into it. All right, so let's jump into how you should never buy a car. There's really three ways to buy a car that most people use. All three of them you should never do. Let's get into the first way because really it's kind of the most controversial that I'm gonna talk about. So why not we just start there? So the first way you should never buy a car is you should never buy a car with cash. Now I know a lot of you out there that have followed Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman, you guys are thinking, Devin, this is the dumbest thing you've ever said. Why would you not pay cash for a car? Because if you pay cash, you're not giving interest to the bank. That's what most people are thinking. They're thinking, Devin, you are really digging yourself a hole here. However, you have to understand that with cash, with money in general, you have to understand how it works. There's a part about money called opportunity cost. Now, if you guys don't know what opportunity cost is, that is if you spend $1 on anything, it does not matter what it is, you've given up control of that money for that item. Money is just a means of exchange. That's all it is. So if I've got money for a car, I get the car for the money. The money's gone now. Now that money can no longer earn me money. It can no longer earn me interest. I don't have it anymore. I've got the car, but I don't have the money anymore. So think about this. Think about if you're a 25-year-old person, male or female, and you go buy, let's say a $50,000 car. That's probably about the average price of a car nowadays. So you go buy a $50,000 car with cash. Okay, you're 25 years old. That means that that $50,000 can no longer compound and grow for the rest of your life. Let's just say 50 years from then. So 50 years, you'd be 75 years old. $50,000 compounding at just 5% over the next 50 years turns into $609,000. So if you take your cash, 50,000 bucks, and buy a car, that 50,000 is guaranteed to not grow into that $609,000 number or more if you've found a way to make more than 5% interest. So that is understanding opportunity cost, the opportunity cost of money. And when you pay with cash to buy a car, you lose the money's opportunity cost. So that's first one. You never want to do that. All right, so the second way that you should never buy a car is you should never lease a car. Now, I know a lot of people out there are thinking, Devin, leasing makes so much more sense because you have a lower payment than if you finance the car. Because in a lease, basically what you're doing is you're only paying for the depreciation of the car during the allotted time. So let's say you do a 3-year lease or what have you. So you're paying for the depreciation of the car, so your payments are lower. So a lot of people say, leasing makes more sense. Here's the problem with that. A couple things. First thing is you never own the car. You basically have a rental. So if you keep leasing vehicles, you have a rental car for the rest of your life. So you never own the vehicle outright. Also, the same thing I said about the cash is When you lease a car, you're making payments. So you're making payments that, again, are lower generally than if you finance the car. However, you're making payments to a lease company. You're losing that money. As soon as you make that lease payment, you've lost control of that money forever. That money has lost its opportunity cost. So you'll never, ever, ever be able to make money off of that money ever again. Every single lease payment, it is gone forever. Its opportunity cost is gone forever, and you can never compound and grow the money. So realistically, leasing a car, in my opinion, is probably the worst way to buy a car. You should never do that. You've got a rental, you never own the car, and you lose the opportunity cost of every single payment that you make. And if you lease cars throughout your entire lifetime, how many are you gonna get? So let's say you start driving when you're 16 years old, right? Let's say you lease a car every single time. So you get a 3-year lease, let's say, okay? And you live to be 76, okay? So that is 60 years, correct? So if you get a car every 3 years over 60 years, that means that you would get 20 cars, right? Super simple. So 20 cars, you're making a payment every single year. You've never owned one of them. You're making a payment every single month, every single year, losing control of the money and losing what it could earn you. So that's the second way to never buy a car. Don't do that. Let's go on to the third one. All right, so the last way to never buy a car is to finance a car. Go to the bank, get a loan, whatever the loan might be, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, whatever it might be. You should never do that for obvious reasons. You're paying interest to the bank, so you're paying more for the car than the purchased price. And here's the big problem with that. A couple of things. One, just as I touched on before with paying cash and leasing a car, is when you make your payments to the bank, you're losing the money's opportunity cost. That is so important to understand. The second you make that payment, that money can no longer compound and grow for you for the rest of your life. That is very important to understand. Now, the second thing is if you're paying interest as well to the bank, you are paying more for the car, obviously, right? So you're paying more, you're giving up more money that you can have control of, that you can compound and grow over your lifetime. Now, here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand is when you finance a car, most people don't actually pay that car off. What happens when you buy a car? You buy a new car, it's got that amazing smell, it's new, it's fun, it's exciting, it's your new car, right? What happens to cars? They depreciate, they wear out. That new car smell goes away. So what do people do? They get another new car. Most people do not pay off their car loans. They trade in the car. And if you look into statistics, most people, when they trade in a car, they still have about 2 years left on that car note, meaning that they've never actually paid everything. So most of their payment, because of amortization, went towards interest, especially the sooner they trade the car in. So they've paid more of each dollar towards interest for that car. They've traded it in for another car, so they've reset the clock on the interest. It's the volume of interest. The interest rate doesn't really matter. People always chase the low rate. They say, oh, I can get 1%, I can get 2%. But you have to understand that it's not about the rate of interest, it's the volume of interest. It's the same reason why if you have a mortgage at 3% interest, amortized over 30 years, you're paying a ton of money over 30 years because most of the interest is front loaded. It's an amortization schedule. So you end up paying a lot more interest than that 3% for the house. It's the same thing with cars. You're paying most of the interest up front. So what happens is if you buy a car by financing it, you're giving up its opportunity cost with every single payment that you make. You're giving up a volume of interest to the bank The sooner you trade that car in, you're resetting the clock again on more interest. It's a horrible way to buy a car. You will lose a ton of money. The car depreciates. We all know it's not a good thing to do. So those are the 3 ways. Never pay cash, never lease a car, and never finance a car. So that only leaves one other way. All right, so the last way to buy a car, the most efficient way to buy the car, the way you can get back every dollar for any car you'll ever buy, drive, and own, and even make money buying the cars, is to become your own bank. You become the bank. And to do it, it's so simple. All you have to do is change just one thing about money. That's it. I'm going to show you what that is. It's quite simple. When you get money right now, what do? You put the money in the bank. And the bank now has control of your money. You don't have control of it. You might think you have control because you can go get it out, but think about this. If you got a bunch of money in the bank and you go to try to take it out the next day, the bank is going to actually give you some pushback. They don't want you to take the money out because if you keep the money in the bank, they can lend it out to other people and make a spread. They can make money off of your money. So the bank is in control of your money. Here's all you got to do. You got to change where that money goes first. Now I'm saying where it goes first, not where it goes indefinitely. Okay? So quite simply, you change where your money goes first. You put it into a place that you control. You have full control over, and this place, it is going to give you guaranteed compound interest for the rest of your life. Rewind that and listen to what I just said. Guaranteed compound interest for the rest of your life. Remember, you don't want to pay cash for a car because then you give up the money's opportunity cost, correct? If you put your money into a place that never stops growing, guaranteed, you never lose the money's opportunity cost. It's going to continue to do one thing and one thing only, and that's go up. You're always going to have more money. So that's step 1, is you're just changing where your money goes first in order to become the bank. You're putting your money into a place that you control instead of the bank being in control. You put your money there, it's guaranteed to compound and grow for the rest of your life. So you'll never lose its opportunity cost. Now, step 2 is you simply borrow against your money. You get a loan from your bank, okay? Most people, they go get a loan from their bank. And when I say their, I mean Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America. All you're doing is you're changing where your money is going first, step 1, never losing its opportunity cost because it's in this place. Then you're borrowing against it. You're taking a loan from your bank, okay? So once you take the loan from your bank, now you buy the car. You buy the car with that money, okay? So think of it like a circle. Your money's over here in your bank, where it's guaranteed to compound and grow for the rest of your life. You take a loan against it. Since you took a loan against it, you didn't remove it from your bank. That means that it's continuing to compound and grow for the rest of your life. That's very important to understand. You took a loan against it, so now you have the funds here. Now you buy the car with these funds. So now you own the car. Remember though, you're the bank. So if you would have got a loan from a traditional bank, you would have put your money in a traditional bank, and then you'd go to the bank and ask for a loan to buy the car. So they would loan you the money, which is really just yours and everybody else that puts their deposits in. They'd loan you the money at an interest rate for a certain amount of years, right? We just covered that. 4, 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it might be. And then what you do is you pay the bank back with interest. That's what Americans do. That's what we've been taught to do. We've been taught to borrow from the bank and pay the bank back with interest on time every single month. So if you are the bank, wouldn't it make sense to do the exact same thing? So all you have to do is change where your money goes first, put it into your bank, your very own privatized bank, and then it's guaranteed to compound and grow, so you'll never lose its opportunity cost. Then you borrow against it, you buy the car with that money. You own the car. You just simply have to figure out what the traditional bank would have charged you for that car. The terms, how many years, the payment, and the interest rate. Once you figure that out, it's very simple. You just take that same amount and you pay it back to your bank, okay? What you're effectively doing is you're never losing control of your money. It's always compounding and growing over here, tax-free for the rest of your life. Then you borrow against it, you buy the car with the money, so now you own the car, and you simply treat your money just like you would treat the conventional bank's money. You pay yourself back with interest. So what you're doing is you're paying yourself back, getting all the money back for that car, plus the interest that you would have otherwise given to the conventional bank. The whole time you're doing this, your money never stopped compounding and growing tax-free. So you actually earn money on the money you put in. You then borrowed against it, bought the car, paid yourself back with interest. So you're paying yourself back more than what you borrowed out. It's the same thing that you're doing now. You're just doing one thing different. You're changing where your money goes first, okay? That's it. Now, here's the thing that's gonna get you guys a little uneasy maybe. It's what it is. What is your own bank? Your own privatized bank? A lot of people call this infinite banking or infinite banking concept, IBC, bank on yourself. There's all these different terms for it. What is it? It's nothing more than a specially designed and engineered whole life insurance policy with a mutually owned company that pays dividends. Now, I know you guys are thinking, Devin, holy moly, whole life insurance, I've been told that's the worst place you could ever put money. That the agent makes a ton of commission. And you're actually right if it's a regular whole life insurance policy built for the death benefit. I'm not talking about the death benefit. I'm talking about using the money as a banking system. It's the best thing to do because inside of a whole life insurance policy, the money is guaranteed to grow, compound, tax-free. Just like I said, it'll never lose its opportunity cost inside of a whole life insurance policy. So that's step one. Again, you put the money into the policy. Now it's guaranteed to compound and grow tax-free. You can borrow against it for anything you want at any time with no credit checks, no financial statements required. There's none of that. So you have full control over the cash value. It just has to be structured in that way. Most agents don't want to do it because the commissions are much lower. So finding the right agent is very important. We'll get into that. But the reason why it makes sense is you're never losing the opportunity cost because inside of a policy, it's contractually guaranteed to compound and grow tax-free. And then you can borrow against it anytime for whatever you want. No credit checks, no financial statements, no questions asked. You get the money when you want the money. Then you never have to make a payment. Think about what I just said. Anytime you take a loan from anywhere else, we've been trained that loans are bad because you've got a payment. You now have something else you have to pay for. With a life insurance policy, it's important to understand that the insurance company is guaranteeing two things. They're guaranteeing you that this money will go up in value over time. They're guaranteeing that. And they're also guaranteeing a death benefit for your family when you die. Whole life insurance. So think about that. They know you're going to die at some point. They just don't know when. So if you borrow against your policy and never pay it back, basically what the insurance company is doing is they're giving you an advance of your future death benefit while you're alive. So if you never pay it back, they'll just deduct it from your death benefit. So they'll get the money back at some point by just simply not having to pay as much to your family when you die. So it's literally the least risky loan they could possibly make. is to you as a policyholder, but it also gives you full control. You decide if you make a payment or not. However, again, we just stated, if you're the bank, you need to treat your money like you treat the conventional bank's money. Pay yourself back. Pay your policy back with interest, okay? Another reason that we use whole life insurance is because the money is not only guaranteed to compound and grow, it's protected against lawsuits and judgments in most states. So that means if you've got a bunch of money you've built up into your bank, your banking system, nobody can touch it. If someone tries to sue you, they can't get the money. If your money's sitting in the bank, it can be taken on judgments and lawsuits. So this is a system that works time and time again. I didn't create it, guys. Whole life insurance has been around since the 1700s. It has stood the test of time. And I'm not the one that created the concept of infinite banking. That was actually by R. Nelson Nash. But there's been wealthy families throughout history that have used this tool. Think about the Rockefellers. John D. Rockefeller was the richest man in history. At his height of his wealth, he was at, if it was in today's dollars, 2024 dollars, his wealth was over $600 billion. Think about that. $600 billion. If it was in today's money. He used this. The Rockefeller family uses this. And you can go through a bunch of different people in history. Walt Disney used this to actually start Disneyland. Ray Kroc used this to actually franchise McDonald's. I mean, the list goes on and on. Pampered Chef. Even the sitting president right now, Joe Biden, uses this concept. So guys, this has stood the test of time. It is a proven way to get all the money back for any car you'll ever buy, drive, and own. And if it works for a car, what else will it work for? I will tell you this, it works for anything. So to learn more about this, guys, in the description of this video, there is a link. Register for a free training video to learn even more about how this can work in your life. And at the end, you can schedule a call with my team so we can answer all your questions. I hope you guys got so much value out of this video. And if you did, make sure to share it with everyone you know. And like I said at the beginning, if you are not subscribed to my channel, 1, shame on you. But 2, go ahead and subscribe now. Smash that like button and hit the bell so you get notified when I put out these videos. Until next time, I love you guys. Peace.